The middle of the afternoon when something extraordinary happens in Lebanon. Explosions in people's pockets. So how did it happen? It appears that what was blowing up were these pagers, older devices which can receive text messages. This is believed to be one of the models targeted. This is the militant group Hezbollah. This summer, it was reported to have given orders for its men to switch away from mobile phones because it feared they could be tracked and calls intercepted. Instead, they were told to use pagers as they believed it offered more security. But that decision appears to have been exploited to target them. Now, this is thought to be one of the pagers that blew up today. But how was it detonated? A cyber attack hacking into it remotely to make it overheat would not make a pager explode in the way seen today. More likely is that the pagers destined for Hezbollah were physically intercepted and had small amounts of high explosive, maybe just a few grams, planted inside, ready to be detonated with a signal. So, who was behind damage like this? Israel has not commented, but few have any doubts about its role. It has used similar methods in targeted killings in the past, killing its enemies with explosives hidden in their mobile phones or in the headrest of their cars. But no one has ever seen something on the scale of what happened today.
So just so that I'm not sure if you caught it, but he said that Israel has done this before. Like, they've unalived people by putting explosives in folks' headrests, putting explosives in people's phones before, right? So this is a pattern that they've done before.
There has been a simmering conflict between Israel and Hezbollah for months. So what will today's events lead to? As well as injuring many Hezbollah operatives, this will be a blow to the organization, making it harder for its people to communicate and spreading fear. But Hezbollah has vowed to respond. And so the question is whether that response will lead to an escalation, even all-out war. Sophie.
Gordon Carrera, thank you.
So what this does to Hezbollah is raise the question, how is it possible to put explosive devices into so many pieces of equipment, into so many devices, or have the Israelis or the Americans or somebody, because of course the Israelis haven't claimed responsibility here, but have the Israelis developed the capability to turn a lithium-ion battery into a bomb?
Now, these are old video clips of phones catching on fire. Now, that's somebody that's, he's working on the phone catches on fire. Now,
this surveillance footage from a China.
I'm gonna turn down the audio on this one. Now, this one is an old video of somebody in China on, on CCTV, and she's trying to swap out her lithium-ion battery, and on the bus, her phone catches on fire. So, the prospect of phones catching on fire with these lithium batteries is a known issue, right? We've known that for a long time. Even when you get on to planes nowadays, they'll ask you if you're carrying a lithium-ion battery.
Exploded, catching fire.
And if that is the case, every militant around the world who's opposed to the existence of the state of Israel or has posed any kind of threat to Israel will right now be tossing their mobile into the loo. Inside Hezbollah, this is a Hezbollah-specific communication system. They will now they will have to go to every single lithium-ion battery in their arsenal of up to 200,000 rockets. Many of them have batteries of some kind on board. Every communications device, every laptop. If you think in your own life how many batteries there are.
Absolutely.
It is a terrifying idea.
So this is a global issue, really. It's not just the Lebanon.
Well, it's potentially a global issue. It's intended to spook everybody and to deeply rattle Hezbollah.
I want to come back to the single most alarming thing you've said, Sam, which is the possibility that they're using the lithium batteries in these devices. Of course, all our mobile phones, as you say, and laptops and the rest of it, pads, have got lithium batteries. So the implication is that a security service, let's leave it at that, a security service could take out almost anybody in the world with the right signal.
Will certainly make them very uncomfortable. Don't put it in your front pocket.
I'm not even going to think about that. It is possible that the Israelis or somebody have developed a way of turning lithium batteries in mobile phones, pagers, and the rest of it into bombs.
I would say that that is a hypothesis that has some legs.
All right, and just to kind of add to what he's saying, family. So at this point in time, of course, it's all speculation, but what folks are saying, like, based on the evidence, it looks like more than likely it may have been that lithium-ion battery. However, when you saw I don't know if you noticed or not, but when you saw the other clips of those lithium-ion batteries, they didn't necessarily explode. They just caught on fire, right? It wasn't like a physical explosion, like a grenade or anything like that. So that's the only reason why some people would say that, well, maybe they altered the battery or had some explosive inside because of it exploded as like a grenade as opposed to just catching on fire.
I would go along the path that it was the lithium battery as opposed to putting explosives in each pager that was part of a purchase order. That increases the level of difficulty to an extraordinary amount unless you're at the manufacturer. I do note that there was some discretion here. As I imagine, Hezbollah is not the only customer using the pager. And the pager is identified as being used by Hezbollah. Personnel were the ones targeted. We're not learning of pagers in Cairo or Athens exploding. Perfect. In my view, the supply chain got penetrated. Software may have been adulterated, designed to malfunction, causing the battery failure. Both are in the skill set of just about every intelligence organization and security service.
What was blowing up were these.
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, he said both. He basically gave different possibilities, but he said both are in the capabilities of all these different intelligence services. So he's saying that anybody or any nation state, for the most part, could do it. Let me see if I can find our places where we left off.
Putting explosives in each pager that was part of a purchase order. That increases the level of difficulty to an extraordinary amount unless you're at the manufacturer. I do note that there was some discretion here. As I imagine, Hezbollah is not the only customer using the pager. And the pager is identified as being used by Hezbollah. Personnel were the ones targeted. We're not learning of pagers in Cairo or Athens exploding. Every intelligence organization and security service.
But this is something we have never experienced before. To be absolutely clear, you think that using an electronic signal of some kind to set off the batteries is much likelier than somebody disassembling thousands of pagers, putting in a little bit of plastic explosive, and then sending them on.
Absolutely. That is exactly what I think. How does this affect the use of our phones and pagers is a good question, right? So how secure are the supply chains? That's what Hezbollah is going to be asking themselves today.
Yeah. So this is a moment where the world changes a little bit.
The risk has always been there, is what I'm trying to tell you. Anyone who has traveled on an airline is asked when they check luggage, do you have a lithium battery in there? Yeah. There's been numerous occasions where lithium batteries in tablets and cell phones, in toys, overheat and balloon and explode.
I've had that experience when I've been traveling with a film crew, and the lithium batteries in their cameras have been removed before we were allowed to fly, but not in a mobile phone or a pager or something small. That's what that seems to me to be different.
Right, and that's why we take them into the cabin with us as opposed to in checked baggage. And so, you civilians, in the lead up when I was talking with your staff, it was, innocent civilians surrounded by electronics. Do we have to worry? And I would say, not really. I don't see this being used in a widespread manner. I see it more along the lines of the zero-click phenomena that the NSO group and their Pegasus software created, where they targeted journalists, they targeted government officials, where...
Yeah, the main thing, family, is that this is exposing the risk of the cell phone, right? This is exposing what they can do, or what folks can do through the cell phone. And that was one of the things that hit me when I first saw all these reports of phones and pagers going off. My thought process was like, all right, so what device was it, and how did they do it? Because if they can do it, to pagers, and I saw someone else make this comment in the chat. So shout out to family. But if someone else could do it, or if they could do this to pagers, they could do it to cell phones. And a little bit further in this clip, you're going to get a little bit more details as to how it happened.
They compromised their phones so that everything on it came back to them. In this way, if you've got that technology, it's not a big step to be able to put in a corrupted or change the operating system so that on demand it overheated. But
that is it. Yeah, I get that. It's still quite an unsettling and extraordinary thought.
We're joined now by our Homeland Security editor, Mark White. Mark, it's an incredible story, something out of an episode of Homelands. Bring us up to speed.
Yes, indeed. We can bring you some live images, actually, from southern Beirut, the Lebanese capital, where there are lots of medics there. There have been, over the past hour and a half, 2 hours, many hundreds of injured people being brought to the hospital, many of those, we believe, Hezbollah terrorists. And we can exclusively reveal as well a line from security sources who've told us that many of the injuries suffered by these terrorists were suffered when they received a message on their pager, then picked up the pager to take a look at that message, and the pagers exploded at that point. And that would explain why in a lot of the video that we'll show you in a bit, not quite yet, but a lot of the video that I've seen, there are injuries to hands blown off, injuries to the face as well.
All right, let me play that little piece, just that little clip, just a little bit, or just one more time. Let's listen to what he said.
Not quite yet, but a lot of the video that I've seen, there are injuries to hands blown off, injuries to the face as well. So it appears that a message was sent on the paging system, that many of those who answered that paging message, brought the pager up to have a look at the message, were then seriously injured.
Yeah, think about how callous that was. So basically, they sent a message to the pager. When the person picked up the pager to look at the message, then that blew up. And that's why in some of the pictures, I don't know if you saw, the stuff that you see on X is far more graphic, is far more unfiltered. But so on X, you'll see people with, the side of their faces, just all bloody. And you're wondering, so how did their face get all bloody? Well, it's because they picked up that pager close to their face and then it went off. Some people had injuries, around their hip area, and that's because they had it in their pockets, right? But as he said that, some people did not answer their pagers, and those folks, whether that pager was away from them or something like that, those folks weren't as injured as the ones that actually picked it up.
Indeed, there are reports of deaths as well. And those who didn't answer the message, their pagers exploded while they were still attached to the waist or whatever, so they suffered injuries to their lower extremities. It is, Martin, the most extraordinary story. We can bring you some more video. This is showing the moment of detonation in a couple of these people wearing the pagers still on their lower parts of their body. You'll see a puff of smoke. There you go. That's clearly quite a powerful blast. The individuals wearing that running away.
Now, one of the things I do want to point out, if you mainstream media will drum this up as this was an attack on Hezbollah, Well, what you notice in this picture, I don't know if you noticed or not, but that's a lady, right? So this lady, she's sitting at a counter. I don't know if it's a cashier's counter or whatnot, but she's sitting at a counter, and the pager blows up on her, and we don't know if she's injured or not, but she's running away. So this was a woman, right? This wasn't a Hezbollah man. This was a woman, and there are reports of, I know at least one child. I don't know if it's children, but children have been attacked as well, or I guess you can call it a attack by the pager assassination attempt as well.
No doubt for hospital treatment. Another person here, again, the pager goes off and they fall to the ground there. You can see the explosion at that fruit market. And then we were talking about the hospital images inside. We're not showing you the worst of the injuries, but you can see the scenes of absolute chaos as
and just another side note, family, if you saw in those pictures how it was an actual explosion. And so that's why, some folks are saying that, well, lithium batteries, when they explode or overheat, they don't necessarily do that. However, there are reports that when some people picked up their phone, the reason why they picked up their phone was because it was overheating. They felt that the temperature in their phone was overheating, so they picked it up and then exploded. So, there is some evidence to support the overheating, while some folks will say that, lithium ion batteries don't necessarily explode like that, but who knows? But basically, family, a message was sent to the phone that caused it to do this, right? And so that's why in the previous clips that you saw, the gentleman was a little uneasy about it because of what it actually meant. That if they could do this with pagers, they can do it with cell phones, like anything that has a lithium ion battery, and basically anybody that has a phone could be a target.
So they suffered injuries to their lower extremities. It is, Martin, the most extraordinary story. We can bring you some more video. This is showing the moment of detonation in a couple of these people wearing the pagers still on their lower parts of their body. You'll see a puff of smoke. There you go. That's clearly quite a powerful blast. The individuals wearing that running away, no doubt for hospital treatment. Another person here, again, the pager goes off and they fall to the ground there. You can see the explosion at that fruit market. And then we were talking about the hospital images inside. We're not showing you the worst of the injuries, but you can see the scenes of absolute chaos as person after person is brought through the emergency doors of one of the main hospitals in Beirut. They are talking, Martin, of at least 1,000 people wounded in what seems to be the most extraordinary operation.
Yeah, he keeps using the word extraordinary. I guess I don't know if he's saying that it's a good thing or a bad thing, but as far as like the numbers, I think when he was making this video, it was around 1,000. The last I checked, the numbers were upwards of 2,000 to 4,000 people that were injured in this one attack. So if you can imagine, on the Hezbollah side, if this attack hurts or injures 4,000 people, this is a massive attack, right? And to date, Hezbollah haven't hurt anyone on the other side to that extent. So you can probably guess like where this is going and why this has the potential to ratchet up. Well, let's just finish this video, family, and then we'll end this video.
The fingers have got to point towards the Israeli intelligence services, but as you said in your introduction there, no word yet from the Israeli authorities, and I think it's likely that they will maintain that never confirming nor denying approach to these particular issues.
Well, there you go, family. So again, just kind of a brief recap. So the way that this happened, family, is, you know, people, they had these pagers. I think they're still trying to figure out how they swapped the pagers. You know, being from an IT background and having to deal with security, you know, I'm confused why they would even change these pagers out, like change their communication out for something brand new, right? And that's what people are saying. They're saying that sometime around the beginning of this year, they swapped out whatever they were using for communication for these quote unquote brand new pagers, and they may have had a little surprise inside, right? So, I'm just not a big, being a security person, I don't understand how that could happen, but it did. So anyway, but they got these pagers. Pagers received a message, and when the person picked up the pager to take a look at it, that's when it went off. And some of the pictures or some of the accounts is that some of the people that were holding the pagers in their hands, some of them had their fingers, you know, taken off, massive injuries to their hands. Some of them were bringing the pagers up to their faces, and of course, unfortunately, they had the massive injuries to their face. And of course, I think what you just heard before is that some of them had in their pockets, and they've had injuries to their abdomen area. So there you go, family. Like I said, just wanted to bring you up to speed, just to let you know this new danger, this new attack vector that's I want to say it's manifesting, but it's being exposed now. I think what the gentleman said in the analysis before is that this has been there for years. Like, this capability has been there for years, but at least now this is coming out into the forefront, and people are starting to see this and say, wait a minute, well, if, you know, is my phone a weapon now? So I don't know about you, but I definitely will, think twice about, I'll tell you what, I had always planned on ditching the phone when World War III breaks out. I'll put it to you that way. I didn't plan on having any electronic devices on me. So that's just me. All right, Ms. Picard. Well, I'll tell you what, that's it. Like I said, just want to share that with you. Please like and subscribe. And we'll get back. Hopefully we'll get back to our regularly scheduled program later on this week. But who knows? Who knows what will happen tomorrow? So we'll just stay tuned. All right. Well, love you, Ms. Picard. Thanks for dialing in, and shalom.
Shalom, family. It's your brother Benaiah Ben Israel. And can I tell you something? This is something epic. The first of its kind. A monumental event of historical proportions. You see, the African Israelite Justice Foundation is hosting an event in Charleston, South Carolina, November the 15th through the 17th, called the My History, My Heritage Empowerment Summit, in partnership with Gullah Geechee Tours, to provide a once-in-a-lifetime conference experience. On November the 15th through the 17th of this year, Israelites all around the world will gather where the sun turned into darkness and the moon did not give her light, and the sign of the Son of Man did appear in heaven. The My History, My Heritage Empowerment Summit will offer historical tours both day and night by the one and only Gullah Geechee Tours. We also plan to offer authentic Gullah Geechee cuisine by the granddaughter of world-renowned Gullah Geechee cuisine chef Emily Meggett. We also plan to host a beach or park Sabbath day service and fellowship, culminating with an African Israelite Justice Foundation conference in the heart of Charleston, on the historical grounds of an African Israelite resting place with a replica ship and a plantation house. You see, to know where you're going, you have to know where you've been, and learn how we can repair the breaches in the walls of Jerusalem together, and help defend our heritage, our history, and by the grace and mercy of the Most High Yah, be empowered to victory. Hallelujah. Well, family, come on out and join us in Charleston, South Carolina, November the 15th through the 17th, and be a part of this unforgettable weekend where history, heritage, and empowerment converge. Well, hope to see you there, Israel. Take care, and shalom.